Hello and welcome to the VCS English broadcast. It is week 2, day 5, and we have 2 more series to beam right into your brain space. I am 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀. I will be your host for the evening, and joining me on the analyst desk we have 𝘀𝗀𝗃 and Rebel Fox. Another week, another fiesta in the VCS. Do we expect anything else?
Fantastic. I've been waiting for the whole week to be here and get it right into my veins. So I'm literally oh, my arm is open. They just shoot into me.
And we've got some series. We have 2 fantastic, hopefully fantastic series to bring to you. First up, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 versus 𝘂𝑏𝗋𝐺, or Chicken, as I've been told to call them, and then that'll be followed up by another top table struggle, 𝘂𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 versus 𝘂𝗶𝗏 later in the day.
It's a day of wonderful games, right, to have between the likes of the two teams. And our first series of the day, actually, we got a chance to see 𝘀𝗀𝗃 on display yesterday against Saigon. So we got a nice look at those two yesterday, which is a good feeling because again, a lot of these teams are competing for some of the top spots. They're 4 of our top 5 teams here inside of the league. So we have a day of League of Legends in front of us, that's for sure.
So, shall we? Let's get straight into the meat of it. Obviously, first series, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 versus Chicken, and 𝘀𝗀𝗃. Just give us an angle. What's the angle we're looking at coming into this series?
Okay, so we in week 1 we have seen both teams coming up very hot. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 was 3-0 undefeated. 𝘂𝑏𝗋𝐺 was 2-1 off great jungling performance from Penguin. And now in week 2, they both had quite of a reality check, but we're still having a great matchup here. And the trajectory is still not the same. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is keeping up the surprise. They beat 𝘂𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 yesterday in a quite impressive upset. While 𝘂𝑏𝗋𝐺 is kind of a bit on the struggling end of the matchup. So it's not as tense as we could have imagined, but there's a whole room, like big room for a lot of plays, and it's going to be a great match, I believe.
On opposite.
Rebel Fox, do you have? Oh, sorry. Do you have anything to say? I know that the main focus, obviously, we can talk about the week of jungle in a moment, but specifically, 𝘂𝗃 has been doing huge work for 𝘀𝗀𝗃 in the top side.
Coded. Are you talking about Killer Queen?
No, specifically. Sorry. So we'll talk about jungle in a minute, but I want to talk about top lane first. Talking about 𝘂𝗃 and how his matchup versus Hero or Mpia.
Yeah, this is a problem in the making, I think, for the side of 𝘂𝑏𝗋𝐺 when it comes to their top lane / mid lane dilemma, which is that ever since Artifact has come back, they've been a little bit shaky as it comes. They've tried effectively every iteration of this roster between putting not only 𝑛PER back in the top lane, putting TH back into the mid lane. You had Artifact decay back in, and they swap between top laners. It's such a confusing state. This is something I really want to see 𝘂𝑏𝗋 kind of iron out today. Figure out who it is that you're running mainstay, or I guess if you're going to take it more of a 𝘂𝗶𝗏 from the previous split with their kind of combined supports between 𝘁𝗁 and I believe it was 𝘁 last split, who is subbing back and forth. They kind of defined roles for everybody within this system. Their main wins, the biggest wins that they had, were coming when Hero was out of the mid lane and 𝑛PER were out of the top lane. So the question is, how does Artifact fit into the rest of the system if they're really trying to make a push into the top 5 and make sure they keep themselves away from the side of 𝘂𝗀𝗏 the Sky and away from that bottom side of the bracket?
Excellent. 𝘀𝗀𝗃, do you have anything to add to that at all, or is that pretty much top situation? It's doomed. 𝘂𝗃 is too good.
Well, there's a lot of assistance from Killer Queen to the top side. That's how 𝘀𝗀𝗃 used to play in week 1. There's a lot of attention brought into 𝘂𝗃 to make him the standout player in the match. He's been the main carry of the team, which is not exactly been the same for 𝘂𝗏𝗋𝗄. And as Rebel said, I hope they figure out who is going to be even their top laner, not just their main carry.
All right, so you alluded to Killer Queen, so let's get into the meat of the actual featured matchup for the series: Killer Queen versus wow, I forget my words. I had it all prepped down. Killer Queen versus Penguin, and Penguin is a well-regarded jungler in the league. I know that much. He's always in the conversation for top jungler. Is it Penguin himself is very good, and the rest of the team is kind of letting him down?
I don't know that I would say that specifically. My biggest thing about Penguin is that when I've been watching back over a lot of this game script that we've been seeing, when he has the ability to kind of control pacing in terms of tempo on his map, that's a really good place to be. When he's playing things like Nidalee or he's playing things that are facilitating how the map state's actually running for the side of SBTC, this is like where they're really the bread and butter is at. He's supposed to be kind of like what's making the engine run in the background, right? But when he is the one that's kind of doing damage, or the one he is expected to kind of throw a wrench into the other opposing game plan when he's trying to play disruptor, this is where Penguin really starts to have struggles. And I think this dichotomy is really important because the team needs to recognize, especially with what minimal dysfunction has come about from having a couple of different members, how they get the most out of two of their better players on the roster, which of course are, at least in my opinion, Penguin and Celebrity, and specifically Penguin for the earlier parts of the game. That's really where a lot of their early game is coming from. And so they need to make sure that they're keeping them on the right track when it comes to how their game planning is taken.
Oh, I was expecting 𝘀𝗀𝗀 to have something more to say about it. You're usually a man of so many words. Cool. That was a point I had. I have it written down in bold and everything. Looking towards the bot side, obviously it doesn't get much conversation, but I want to say that I've spotted, and you guys yourselves have told me a lot about the alarming priority of the B1 Jin.
Oh yes, this is the main disease of the VCS at the moment is B1 Jin, and there's no vaccine for it yet, as to the best of my knowledge. And both teams, both AD carries 𝘁 on the side of 𝘀𝗀cie and Celebrity, on the side of SBTC, they played an ungodly amount of Jin. 𝘁 has 6 picks out of, I don't know, 10 games or something, and Celebrity has 7 picks. So I expect the Jin to be either like first pick or banned. In whoever's going to be blue side is going to snatch the Jin and just put their AD carry on the champion, because it does so many things that VCS AD carries appreciate. There's like long range, so you're safe from the team fights, and added crowd control. You don't need to be the first one in. It provides the whole package for a VCS team, despite we might not like it, but AD carries do, and we need to respect it.
The biggest thing about that champion that comes about from bottom lane, and I think it's important in this matchup, as you'd alluded to, you talked about how important that this champion is, how often it's picked by these two bot laners. When you look at Celebrity play this champion, he makes it look like a legitimate carry, like a legitimate team fighting ADC that's going to be able to rip through the enemy team. The number of times, I'm pretty sure he had upwards of a quadra pentakill, something like that, early on in the first week with just the Jin alone. Has like a multiple 5+ kill games where he's gone absolutely insane in terms of the damage chart for this team. And on the other side, I mean, it's not to say that the performances have been bad for the side of 𝘁, more so that it's the standard use of a Jin, which is more so for just like neutralizing the bot lane, making sure that they're not losing that side, and that they've got a bunch of extra stuff alongside it. Yes, he does damage, but he's also got the root, he's got the ultimate to engage fights. That's more of 𝘁's style, which means that I feel like it's far more valuable for the side of 𝘀𝗀cie to take it away from SBTC just because of how good they are. And the pick is just more valuable in the hands of Celebrity in this series.
Agreed. And looking forwards, so bot lane, we're not expecting too much action. As you said, 𝘀𝗀cie generally plays it as their weak side. And it was alluded to earlier about the artifact situation. How do you feel, 𝘀𝗀𝗀, that he matches up into Blazes in this game?
Oh, that's a hard feeling. I was a huge Artifact fan back in spring when he was one of the best, among the top mid laners in the league when he was in Team Secret. But now he's had a very rough start. He came out of some illness. I think he had COVID, and now his recent performances have not really been bright. And SBTC as a whole is not really adjusting too well to playing again with a proper mid laner. They played with 2 top laners, and their whole drafts have been designed around them. And Artifact has not had a good time. He is down like 1,000 gold at 15 minutes. So the lane matchup into Blazes, which on the other hand has been one shining light for 𝘀𝗀cie, is going to be very tough, and it's probably going to be what tips the scales in favor of 𝘀𝗀cie, that they can enable Blazes to roam, help kill Queen, whereas Artifact is not managing to do the same for SBTC, and this makes the machine of SBTC really, really rusty, and it's going to be hard for the mid lane, yeah.
kind of want to shout out Blazers in particular. I've seen very little of VCS, but in an attempt to at least try and seem like I know what I'm talking about, I did catch a few games, 𝘀𝗀𝗋ℐ's ill-fated series against 𝘀𝗶𝗵, and Blazers was very much the shining light for 𝘀𝗀𝗋, the one player that really was holding his own and almost looked like could maybe stage some form of a comeback in that series.
It's 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is able to use him a lot better this split. In the previous split, it felt like he had to do a more significant amount of just work in general across the map, not only operating as a solid top 2 damage dealer on the team, but also operating as like he's supposed to get mid priority, he's supposed to help out 𝘀𝗀 or 𝘁𝗀, whoever it is inside of the jungle. They expected so much of him, and now 𝘁𝗀 has taken up a fair more of that mantle. 𝘀𝗀 has taken up a fair more of that mantle, and their bottom lane is more consistent than what they had in the previous split, and it's allowed Blazes to kind of settle back and do a lot more focused type work, where he's either playing something like TF, making an impact across the map, playing something like Syndra, he can be more focused on damage, 𝘁𝗀 for the exact same reason. They're able to use him in a lot more effective ways, and I think that's really important because, again, as we were alluding to with the likes of the Artifact matchup, the question mark for that is Artifact going to be playing? And if Artifact's playing, they're playing mages. Do they have something adaptable for Blazes to be able to take into that mindset, as opposed to, let's say, Hero's playing and he's going after the set first and then other top lane champions second, because that's the pool that they've been using.
Precisely, and it looks like we are moments away from champion select. So looking towards this first, we're obviously expecting 𝘀𝗀𝗋 to have that priority on the Jhin. Is there any other champions that really stand out as being big focus points for either of these teams to pick up?
I think very important is going to be the Rise. He's been central, especially for 𝘀𝗀𝗋, because as we said, Blazes loves to shove his lane, roam as much as possible, and it's also one of the favorite champion of Artifacts, so he's going to be for sure picks or ban. And this Talon that 𝘀𝗀𝗋 are picking, Talon has seen some play in week 1, but in week 2 I checked, and it's only been banned against 𝘁𝗀𝗋 specifically. Only 𝘁𝗀𝗋 is allowed to play the champion. Everyone else is scared to play it. So this is a deny pick from 𝘀𝗀𝗋. But I don't know if Penguin is going to be able to execute it to the same degree of proficiency.
Yeah. It feels like a not Penguin type champion. I talked about being more of a facilitator and more attacking lane specifically, and while Talon is definitely capable of doing that, also look at what they've given up in exchange for it. Notice Lucian Nami available, but instead it's 𝘀𝗀𝗋 who goes to the Lucian Graves. I wonder if they are just saying, okay, CBL, if you want to take Nami and nothing else, go ahead, just don't take it. And if you don't give up the Nami, or if you don't take the Nami here, I mean, what do you grab in exchange? You grab something maybe, okay, they go for the Gwen, but this is just going to be a Nami insta lock-in. There's absolutely no reason not to. And you've now gotten 𝘁𝗀𝗋 on a champion where we saw the first inklings of what he could do on a Viego, a more farming, carry-centric type jungler, where like Graves fits more to that mold than into something else. But now you've also got Vit and H3 on a powerful bottom lane that you really don't need to babysit that much. That means a lot more action into the top side of the map. And that's also assuming that 𝘁𝗀𝗋 isn't going to be grabbing the Graves up and just farming Festival up against the side of the Gwen on the top side of the map and not worrying at all, which allows this really powerful mid-jungle combination to potentially come out.
Yeah, and obviously we were talking about the Jhin, but nowhere to be seen in this game, interestingly. Obviously, it could come through second rotation. 𝘁𝗀𝗋 still has the freedom to go for that, but I don't know how well a Jhin sits into this quite powerful combination of Lucian Nami.
Yeah, they could still be probably like putting 𝘁𝗀𝗋 on this very safe pick and just play on the other side of the map. They have these two solo laners that they want to focus on, and it's going to be probably some topside focus for 𝘀𝗀𝗋. Yeah, that is exactly what they need to do, because solo lanes are the bread and butter of 𝘀𝗀𝗋. So I appreciate that 𝘀𝗋 is trying to interact this style of play. There's also Ziggs open, which can be good if you want to unlock a CBL and allow him to roam with Hero, create a mess in 𝘁𝗀𝗋 plan. Yeah. So we have this Alistar. Of course, the other disease of the VCS, other than the P1 Jhin, is the Alistar Leona obsession, which is, of course, they want to pick engage champions, because that's what you do in the VCS. You engage, you team fight, you skirmish every moment possible, and Alistar provides just that. And the follow-up with the Jhin is, of course, very great for additional crowd control.
Now, with 𝘀I worry about a Sylas. Okay, I was going to say Orianna might actually make quite a bit of sense as well, but it kind of takes away any pressure you've got in mid lane to wave clear against the likes of Syndra. Here, the Sylas also doesn't have that. He's a melee champion that has to work into a Syndra, which isn't necessarily fun, but there's a good amount of kill threat that can come about if they can actually get either, Nami, or more importantly, I think Coded is going to be a big one to watch on the roaming potential, just so that he can help set up his team. All in all, I actually am a little bit curious about the more lax playstyle. Again, we saw the first rumblings of it yesterday against 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀, where it was 𝘀𝗀cie playing the Viego in that particular case, with lanes that weren't necessarily fighting really quickly or trying to win in the very early stages of the game, something we hadn't seen in their first week. But they're doing it again here in the first game against the side of 𝘀BTC. I'm curious to see how it works out a second time now that people have had a chance to see it in action.
We are moments away from jumping onto the Rift, and let's go for just aggregate thoughts. Draft as a whole, you say that 𝘀𝗀cie is going for a more lax style. Does that make it more difficult for them to win in any regard? It looks like they've still got a really good, really solid team fight composition when it comes to the mid and later stages of the game.
I actually think it puts the onus on 𝘀BTC. I think Penguin has to do a lot of work in the earlier stages of the game, and I'm not convinced on the setup that Artifact has got inside of this game to accomplish. I'm actually going to protect 𝘀𝗀cie for this first game.
Clockwork?
I'm also going to go with 𝘀𝗀cie. I don't think Artifact is going to be able to snowball this lane against Blazes. Plus, 𝘀𝗀cie have shown proficiency with all this skirmishy, team fighty comp in this later week, so it's going to be exactly what they want. 𝘀𝗀cie wins.
All right, fantastic. We're going to throw it across to our casters for this series. Over to you, 𝘀arix and 𝘀𝗀.
Thank you very much, 𝘀𝗀cie. I'm glad to be heading on to Summoner's Rift with my good friend Marvin 𝘀𝗀cie. It's been far too long. Can't believe you decided to prioritize your education. How dare you, honestly.
Yeah, and anything learned is going to be immediately thrown out as VCS continues to shut down my brain with its incredible drafting mechanics. Yeah, look,
I think 𝘀𝗀cie actually played that draft very smart. They baited 𝘁𝗶𝗹. Like, he could have picked the Nami.
That's not my problem.
Okay.
That's okay. First picking a first-time talent. Bold. Not taking away the Nami. I'm not too bothered by, because I don't think Nami is particularly good on her own without the Lucian. So that's here or there. But then, I mean, I'm bothered by 𝘀𝗀cie not banning the Jhin in the second phase. That's my only complaint from them. And then just assuming that the Graves is going to be the top laner and picking your Gwen instead of locking down an early bot lane pit. It's just weird to me. I think 𝘀BTC completely flubbed it. But outside of that, they actually managed to get a decent result despite huge blundering. And we're going to have to see, how do they actually bring it all together, because that's not necessarily the biggest fault of 𝘀BTC. Since Artifact's return, they've looked just a little bit lost, a little bit shaky. As we looking at this vertical jungling, which I haven't seen for a while, but have they read it on the side of 𝘀BTC?
Yeah, that's my question. I don't know if they spotted this Graves.
I know now.
Moving over to Wolves, well, they know now for sure, but 𝘁𝗀 is going to be able to force Artifact back. And this should just be a clear 3 buff being secured for 𝘁𝗀, so he's off to a great start.
And leaving a little bit of chickens behind, so it's just really bad for Penguin. Can't really commit to just sort of clearing out his, or like beelining straight for that blue buff. He will dodge most of the vision and go straight to the Krugs, so they're going to be a little bit unsure where he is, but with the parkour built into Talon's kit, they can probably figure it out that he just sort of jumped his way over the vision and he's only got really Krugs left to go to, so they're still a little unsure if he's made his way into the blue side jungle, but it doesn't seem to bother the bot lane, who is still keeping Jhin and Alistar, a pretty weak laning duo, as they spot him out now, under the tower, trying to limit the CS, 10 CS lead already. Just punish this bot lane difference. It's so large, and what's Talon gonna do if Graves is anywhere near them?
Honestly, this was really, really well played by 𝘀𝗀cie. I just want to point out how well everything has gone. This was a very scripted early game out of them, and it went off to a T. They push in that bottom lane. It means Penguin is unable to go for the counter invade on the blue. He just simply can't. Graves gets the bottom scuttle crab. Okay, it's not a double scuttle, but this Talon is still set so far behind now. And the Graves is in a position to get a first gank off. Sorry, my bird is falling just for a moment. As, yeah, everything is working out in 𝘀ક્ષiry's favor. It's going to have to take something for SBTC to fight back, and it looks like it's going to be a top lane dive that they go for. This monkey's got to find some real business to get out of this one. Goes into stealth for a moment. He has the ignite, and they have to call it off as Blazes arrives.
And that completely ruins Penguin's entire life, because he can no longer go and pick up the Krugs on the top side. He has to go back to his Gromp. That means he's just going to keep quite far behind. It was a noble effort, but the response from Blazes was good. 𝘀𝗃 able to actually trick them out with the clone, so they couldn't actually get anything done. It worked out extremely well for the side of 𝘀ક્ષiry, and I mean, I credit SBTC for going for it. But in the end, it doesn't work out, and CBL's dead.
Scrap in the bottom lane, as CBL is going to go down, and it's Celebrity in a bit of trouble, but they don't have the damage to finish him off, so it will just be a lovely flank stake harvested for first blood.
Yeah, great 2v2. I'm not sure exactly what sort of set that up, probably some sort of bubble. And you only really blew the ignite by H3,
someone's
so...
dead. Yeah, someone's dead and only 2 summoner spells have been used. Was there just no opportunity to flash from CBL? Hopefully we'll get a replay to find out. Here we go. I assume it's just a bubble.
So it's just so much damage coming out, and CBL, you're still there. He turned back to look away, but they saw 𝘁𝗀 in the ward, so he was like, save it. I'm not getting out.
Yeah.
And which is 100%. Which is 100% fair. It's a good pickup for Vit. They're going to be very happy with that. And with that lead, with that little wander down there, Penguin rather has sort of found his way up in terms of CS to keep back in line with 𝘁𝗀, but it's still just a lot of pressure that this Talon is not getting down early, and I much favor Graves as the game scales on.
Observers finally notice those pings, and we will just check it out. But Artifact is well and truly backed off. He's totally safe. He'll continue to farm up against Blazes on the Sylas, but Sylas keeping it even in CS against a Syndra is always a good sign, particularly when his health bar is pretty healthy.
Yeah, and I mean, he's always got the ability to sort of surprise you with that Kingslayer, and as long as he's not getting hard shoved under tower, he's always going to be relevant, as he's already hit that level 6 mark. Has kill threat onto Artifact. Yeah, that's completely unspotted, but he is on the bot side, so might be able to make something happen. He spots... Yeah.
Ooh, risky smite there. Could have had a last second steal, but it was completely unspotted. 𝘁𝗀 sneaks away that Ocean Drake, and 𝘀ક્ષiry confirms the first objective of the game.
Yeah, they figured it out towards the end with the rotation from Blazes, which is probably why Penguin was hesitant to just sort of jump over the wall in case there was a collapse there, but it's only an Ocean Drake. That is, if you have to give up one Drake, give up that one. It's basically worthless on its own. And that's fine. That's fine. It slows down 𝘁𝗀 in terms of getting off to a really big lead. Penguin didn't use the time to any great advantage, but...
Cyclone being committed here from 𝘁𝗀. He's going for the solo bolo. He gets Hero very, very low. The needle work's not good enough. And Gwen is sent back to the Shadow Isles.
Hero just stood in it. He just stood in the entire thing. He just got
owned. He put up the W and went, no, I'm meant to be immune. But that's not how that works.
Gwen is immune, but coded as a monkey, and monkeys can't read the word immune, so... Yeah, we'll go with that. Penguin's just happily farming. But yeah, look, Hero just takes the whole thing, doesn't even try to sort of fight back with the ult. He fires one off, and then it takes him a good 5 seconds to try and fire off the second one.
Oh.
As we've hit a pause, apparently.
Yep, and I'm not sure if our producer is here, so I might need to just chuck Spood a ping.
No.
No worries. I think he was just getting a drink. Bad timing, but I'm sure, it's all right. It might be weird to see 2 lovely Vietnamese gents on the screen, but hear us talking, but you're just going to have to deal with the cognitive dissonance, because apparently it is a pause. Things
Yeah,
not
that's-
going very well for SBTC in the early game. How do they bounce back from this one?
Oh gosh, how do they bounce back? It's really hard for them. They have to sort of work around trying to maximize their vision, which is going to be hard against 𝘀WWE, who have been one of our better vision control teams. If it was Cerberus, I'd say, yeah, that's your easy way in, but you have to you have to try and find blind spots. You have great pick potential in your comp with the Jhin, with the Syndra, with the Talon. So try and make that happen. And, I mean, worst comes to worst, you can hope for the late game Gwen, but that's also matched on the other side by a Graves, Lucian, Wukong combo, and you're getting outscaled in sort of a team fight scenario, so picks are your only option, and that's going to rely on Penguin and CBL in particular to just work around getting great vision control in the jungle and the corridors and just work together to pick it off. That's it.
It's certainly
That's all you got.
It's going to be really tricky. Let's move over to look at it from 𝘀훠ry's perspective, because they've come in with a game plan. That's obvious. This is something we would always see 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 do in the spring split, and it worked. It worked absolute wonders, I should say. They came in with a plan that was super scripted. They all knew what they were going to do for the first 5 minutes of the game, and it's gotten them. I'm not 100% sure what the actual gold lead was, unfortunately, but it has got them off to quite a solid lead and a solid start with 2 kills and a dragon. Are you happy with what you're seeing from 𝘀훠ry? Did you notice any mistakes?
I mean, no, with 𝘀훠ry, they went for a plan that was low risk, medium reward, and like if they got spotted, they just end up trading jungles vertically. That's fine. It's not a huge loss, but you have the safety on your bot side for your pushing lane, and it pays off. They get the 2v2 kill. In this case, it actually pays off and they get the 3 buff as well. And it's not necessarily as much a huge gold lead, though they do have a pretty sizable one thanks to individual laning. It's they're getting the tempo lead. They have the control of the map. There's nothing Penguin in particular can actually do. He's just stuck. He's just stuck trying to make something happen, trying to find something, but there's no good avenues in. He doesn't have great setup in his top lane. Spot lane's okay, but Lucian Nami is kind of hard to gank in that they'll just kill one of your members before you even get the chance to actually show up. But yeah, so mid lane is your main.
The game is certainly not over.
No, of course not.
I don't want to give that sort of impression, but instead of having us just ramble and try and figure out what to talk about, we are just going to go to a little bit of a tech break screen. We will be back as soon as there is League to bring you. We do apologize. We don't know what the pause is for. That's why we're doing this instead of just trying to fill. We'll be back as soon as the pause is resolved.
Bring forth the tree.
this. Come and run again. You wanna dose of this right now? It's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리처럼 내 이름 잊지 못하게 loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bad gal, gal, gal. And when I started talk that, oh, you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with the wild in my.
Welcome back, everybody. We do apologize for that. There was a bit of an issue with the comms, apparently. But don't worry, we haven't missed any action. We are back in right where we left off as 𝘀cie continues to grow their lead over the super big-time chickens, who are looking pretty small-time right now. As
And
this
here's
man on our
what
screen,
SBTC
𝘀cie has been
have
off to a killer start.
And here's what SBTC have done to figure out how we're going to get back into this. Just abandon laning. Abandon it. There's no hope.
I mean, this is good. This is a good call.
Yeah, it is. There's no hope. There's no hope for them in the straight up. So they go grab this Rift Herald. I like the idea. I like the response from 𝘀cie to just stay down there. You're going to grab the 2 plates onto your Lucian. That's going to even out the Rift Herald trade overall.
I don't think he'll get the second plate. The first plate went a while ago. He only gets 1 plate out of this trade. This was good. This was good by SBTC. Now Gwen will clear the way.
Should be able. It is still the range matchup, so you have the ability to wail on the turrets with a decent impunity.
Coded's
but
in trouble. Coded needs to play safe. There's
H3
a lot
on
of
the
men
way.
collapsing. Yeah, Blazers is coming as well, but he's just going to immediately rip out the Cyclone. He gets exhausted. The Talon ult buys a lot of space. He uses the second knock-up just to get some distance, but now Jhin opens up the pizza slice of doom, but does not find the delivery as Blazers arrives to make sure no more shenanigans will take place.
Yeah, and with that they
Lucian
lose the
didn't get the
tempo.
second plate.
No, he had. So anyway, he got a plate. But they denied they denied the move from the Rift Herald. It wasn't able to get a kill onto Coded because CBL, man, he played that rough. He just walked straight into the second Cyclone, didn't do anything. And Coded just sort of walks away after blowing up chunking out, I should say. An isolated celebrity means they can't really progress any further onto this tower, so they have to sort of rotate back into the standard, and that's not going to work out for them at all. Especially if Graves is just going to be able to keep tracking Penguin and stop him from actually being able to get the kill to set up a decent Rift Herald drop. The only place he can really look is mid, because the setup is really strong there, and the disengage in bot lane is too much for Nami, so that counterbalances the otherwise good setup of Jhin Alistar.
Looks like they want to go towards the bot lane though. A lot of pings coming in, but Penguin will be spotted on this control ward. But Artifact also close by. They can go for this play into the dragon, but this little ward in the river is seeing everything.
They're not going to really be able to go for the big play, and Killer Queen's just
𝘀cie
going to
getting a
remove
lot
Penguin.
of damage. Wave to follow it up, but it doesn't quite land. Penguin able to surf out of there. Parkours his way away, but this gives them priority on the second dragon.
Absolutely, you don't get the kill, but you've sent him back to base, so you get full control over this bot side river. You get the ability, get the free shove in mid because Artifact spent a lot of time hanging around the bot side, and now you're not actually going to go for the dragon, which is, I guess, fair. You're not really 100% sure on taking that in the face of Jhin, I guess, but Jin's ult, it's back up, so I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a weird call from 𝘀cie, just trying to maximize his farm. Doesn't reads that Penguin's not going to go for it anyway.
Oh, well, Penguin is moving up to the top side. Wukong has been ignited, but he has the Cyclone to disengage. Once again, he actually jumps back forward to deal a bit more damage, forces both of the ultimates. This will be a Rift Herald summoned up, no real counterplay to that. This is actually probably going to be first brick taken down here for SBTC. A
100%.
huge gold injection.
Yeah, 100%. And it goes onto the Gwen, which is a good target to put it on. You mean they stay on range.
She did.
The range on that is... No, I'm not 100% sure. Sometimes they get it when I don't think they should, other times they don't.
Ooh, hang on.
But
are they going to go for this play? 𝘀cie muscling his way in, gets bonked up just for a moment. CBL flashing away, does get him to safety.
Gets them to safety, but there's pressure on the bot side tower that's going to be traded back. And actually, if No, the timing's not right. Never mind. I saw a man in the Herald pick. Excited.
Not quite.
Boy, not quite.
That would
but
be a very early second Herald.
it is. But hey, the first one was a very early take, so why not?
True.
Why not?
But no, I think it's about a minute away from now as _Queen continues to storm ahead. He is currently nearly 40 farm ahead of his opposite number in Penguin, who, despite some good moves, is still not recovering necessarily individually, though he has managed to help Hero up in the top lane get quite far ahead. Really far ahead, in fact.
Yeah, he's got a healthy got a healthy CS lead plus the tower gold, of course. So gonna be quite happy. Has still only on components because he stopped by that Seekers to help with the matchup, and should be able to take it pretty comfortably into Coded right now. Push him back, keep that pressure down in the top side. But yeah, on the rest of the map is just kind of struggling, specifically bot lane and jungle. Mid lane is a complete wash. They're both even. 4 CS difference is nothing. But I just can't help but think that 𝘀esse is going to be just more impactful come these fights with the access to the Unbreakable Will.
Yeah, 𝘀esse has some really nice ults to steal. The Syndra ult is not bad, the Talon ult is fantastic, and the Alistar ult is one of the best in the game. And the Gwen ult's actually no slouch either, really just don't take Jhin. So he is a very, very happy little revolutionary in this one, but we'll have to see if Blazers can execute as 𝘀cie is found by Penguin, drops a defensive smoke screen, but Penguin will just get on out of there. The ward clearing is allowed, and now there's a lot of activity around this mid lane.
Yeah, you're seeing the bot lane roam up because they know they can't defend that bot side tower, so just trying to muscle in and get numbers in this mid lane before the Rift Herald spawns. It's going to have to take some time to catch up, and there's a pick on the Blazers.
Ooh, Blazers in trouble. He's getting ulted, but healed up by the Fishwife, so no worries there. He is low, but not out of the fight, as they'll keep on moving up. They want to fight over this second Rift Herald. 𝘀cie leading the charge, but can't quite catch up. The top lane now is under threat because, I mean, you've got to be really careful here, Coded. SBTC, they're first on the play. The Cyclone is going to be used, but he does not have his W. There it is, it's used. Gets the second knockup. Gwen goes down, and disaster has struck here in the top lane. Jhin will open up, but it's not going to be enough. Yo, I tell a lie, because it will be Syndra being enough. 𝘀cie in trouble. Collateral damage is out of there. Vit moving forward, has to get back. But in the end, it's just the 2-for-1. Blazers locked up, but he's okay.
Yeah, Coded able to buy so much time that the initial trade actually seems to go in the favor of 𝘀cie. The final result does as well, with H3 being able to instantly cancel Celebrity's ult with his own. And now they are probably going to have to give up this Rift Herald because
with a teleport,
Artifact is Hero is teleporting back in, and the carries of SBTC didn't really take much damage. So. But oh yeah, Coded, great response out of him. Has a lot of turret damage with Wukong, so and with only the Alistar in range to stop him, it's only going to be the 2.
Oh, he needs to be careful though, because with Hero coming, they could potentially lock him down, but no Gwen ult means they shouldn't really have the CC. We'll have to wait for that headbutt Pulverize to come back up. There it is, but now with 𝘀esse here, now it could all go wrong as Alistar has been the first to fall. Gwen is immune to nothing, 𝘁𝗶𝗶, as Hero is put in the dirt.
Just a little bit of monkey business, baiting the collapse from SBTC. Yeah, not having those chase down tools, not being able to get the turret aggro to switch onto him as well, meant that there was just not the damage there. But here we see Coded really just showing off, being able to pick up a lot of free damage, pretty much almost killing Hero by himself, and it's really well played out of him. Again, H3 popping the Jhin ultimate away with his own ult, just to solidify the win, just to make sure that Celebrity actually had 0 impact within that fight. And 𝘀cie, again, just have complete control of the bot side of the map, and they're going to pick up the 3rd dragon, and it's the Infernal Soul, so if they manage to get this, it's pretty much lights out for SBTC.
Okay. But Penguin
you
doing well.
You do well.
Yep. Comes in, hops over the wall, the Nami wave could not stop the pure power of a 14-year-old 𝘀𝐶 as Talon moves in for the smite. This does give SBTC somewhat of a reprieve, but as you said before, scaling is not something they can really rely on. Gwen is, of course, an incredibly strong scaling champion, but so is Lucian, and so is Sylas, particularly when he has an Alistar role.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like the Wukong particularly falls off in his usefulness.
Nope,
That
he still
Cyclone is
spins.
always... So the spin to win is always effective. But here's your opportunity. Find these picks. Repeat season 3.
Yep, well played, but oh my word, the damage out of it converted by 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 as well. And apparently the cows are overpopulated because that one just got cold.
Yeah, and Blaze is just coming down to seal the deal. This ult is just for the wave clear outside from Celebrity. It's, oh my god, I was not expecting that damage to just turn straight back around onto Penguin. Oh god, it's, yeah. When the collapse back on a otherwise good pick is, the end result is you losing 2, yeah, you're probably sitting there going, alright, what do we do next game? Not first pick Talon, probably. But yeah, you see...
Look, I actually don't think Penguin has performed that badly on Talon. I don't think the pick was the issue this game. I'm going to be totally honest.
I mean, it's not so much the pick itself, it's what you gave up for it. Like, you gave them Lucian, Nami, you gave them Graves. It's just, and it's... The draft, like, the end result of what SBTC has is fine, but watching the draft, you go, why'd you pick that there? Why'd you pick that there? You gave up so much on the other side.
Hang on, we do have a fight as Blazers moves in. Penguin, this was not very thought through. Blazers is missing every spell, but it doesn't matter when he slays a king. As they do go 1-for-1 across the map, because Coded actually was found by Hero.
Yeah, I mean, Penguin feels a little bit more like middle management being on Talon, but anyway, it's a solo kill for Blazers. He picks that up. Penguin just not being allowed to get anywhere past the river, and you're looking towards the vision, and you can see that even though it should be topside control, what happened? Oh no, what happened? I'm going to assume
it's a Gwen with Ignite. I can see how this happens. Yeah, he just eats too much damage from the Gwen. This was just a mistake by Coded.
Okay. Yeah, just walks in, gets full combo to his face, ends up dying. Yeah, alright, fair enough. And that's actually really just, we're seeing across the opposite sides of where the vision says the strength of these teams should be. We're just getting solo kills on the wrong side, so... Yeah. Interesting. Fair enough. Have fun with that.
I mean, SBTC showing signs of life, even though they are 4k gold down. 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 is obviously off to a fantastic start. Has his shield bow, has the black cleaver as well.
That's an interesting build.
That's a bit of an interesting one. It's good on Graves though, so I don't necessarily blame him.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just I haven't seen that for a long time.
It's true, I haven't either. But the 1-3-1 is in full force here for 𝘀𝑠hiy, as their solo laners are in fact solo laning. Sylas hitting on a tower. I'd love to look up there as he gets ganked. As they're moving in, he uses the Aberfrost. Penguin coming in. I don't think he can get out of this one. He certainly can't.
Nah, stuck around for the tower. Traded a lot of damage back into Artifact, but with Penguin in the wings, it was lights out for Sylas. But hey, he came what he got what he came to do. He got the tower. Giving up the shutdown is bad, but it's not going to be really enough to bring SBTC back into it. Plus, it opens up your ability to move your wards from just the bot side jungle into the top side jungle and set up around the big Baron, which should be the most important objective now that, you know, you're not on Soul Point. You probably are still going to focus on the Dragon first because it's the easiest one to take. And we're still only at 22 minutes, so Baron's still pretty difficult to knock down. But as the game progresses, as that dragon is taken off the board, they can shift their priority, shift their vision towards the top side, get it in deep into the side of SBTC's jungle, and then look to play the game of burn and turn on the Baron.
Well, let's hope they do get it in deep, Marby, and have a great time up against SBTCs. Coded is caught out. He's in a lot of trouble, but they're turning it around well. The Cyclone doing so much work here on the other side, and it's just a little bit of wallet diff as Vit is zoning out 3 members of SBTC. Hero goes low. He doesn't go down, though. Coded will, as 𝘀cie finds that final sniper shot. H3 will save Blazers, but this is another bit of fighting back here for SBTC.
Yeah, SBTC playing that wonderfully, completely keeping them in the choke. 𝘂𝗶𝗹 being able to tank up so much. Hero escaping by the skin of his teeth as well is going to be able to teleport back in, and that should be Dragon for the side of SBTC, and especially with 𝘂cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 being forced completely out. Oh my god, Blazers.
Yeah, look at this. This is just more for SBTC. Here it is. Welcome to the VCS Baseball League as a pitch has been thrown and 𝘀cie have yeeted it away.
You better take that. Yep, thank you. Very close to getting H3 on the end there as well, and that's going to be a second Infernal Dragon. They're playing these fights extremely well. They're too low to go for the Baron, but this is the initial setup. You sort of chunk coded out, and 𝘂𝗶𝗹 has just been monstering this, standing in the front line, taking up so much damage. And then again, Hero escaping. And look at it again. 𝘂𝗶𝗹 goes back in for the multi-man knockup, sets up 𝘀cie on the backside as well, who should have been chunked out of the fight by Vit, but he's Jhin, so he has that long range. And 𝘂𝗶𝗹 coming in for the next one, just after Blazers pops off somebody. I think it's Artifact. Or it might be Penguin. It's Penguin. Blows up Penguin. But it doesn't matter, because 𝘂𝗶𝗹, look at that one! He hits
Always
2 2-man knockups, hits up a 3-man as well on the end. H3 gets out barely because 𝘀cie does miss his W. And
Blazers has a catch though, in onto the cow, needs to be careful. Vit with a good ultimate to make sure Artifact can't join this play, and in fact, he'll just kill him. He'll keep going on to 𝘀cie. Oh my word, this AD carry Vit is an absolute monster! As he picks up a couple, Jhin ultimate will stop them getting anything more. But what a burst of action.
Look at that! Look at 𝘀cie's health bars! Vit deserved another kill there. He deserved it, but 𝘀cie, they come out on top. 𝘂𝗶𝗹 giveth, 𝘂𝗶𝗹 taketh away, getting caught out and leading into a fight that 𝘀cie take pretty handedly. They're going to win, they get the turret as their reward as well. That's another big swing back for 𝘀cie. Though it's only 4k at a pretty late, reasonably late into the game. Yeah, we just see 𝘂𝗶𝗹's not able to have that impact. He has to blow his ultimate immediately, only able to sort of stun up Blazers rather for a small amount of time. And yeah, just Vit popping off the backside was disgusting. Just so much damage out of this Lucian.
Yeah. This ridiculous performance from Vit, maybe you shouldn't give them Lucian Nami, particularly the Lucian half of it, as he is showing a very clean performance, and we've seen a lot of clean Lucians here in the VCS. So you continue just to farm it out. As you said, it's only this 3k gold lead, which is, honestly, at 26 minutes, pretty much nothing. So we have to really start thinking about scaling. We've mentioned it a couple of times. The main scaling threat for SBTC is Gwen. She's a huge scaling threat. Ooh, we'll have to come back to it as another fight will kick off as they barrel down onto Hero. That Gwen is removed. And they look to
That was 𝘀cie. Sorry, not 𝘀cie. SBTC starting that. That was 𝘂𝗶𝗹 going for a single man knockup. Sure, there was a group, but you just sent your cow in alone, and he just got hammered down before anyone could really join. Hero is the one that pays the price in the end.
This is dangerous. Penguin is in the pit, but he can't get the steal. Pays for it with his life. They blew Alistar up again as well. And
yeah.
Oh boy.
Now
this Alistar is having a very, very, very bad time. Oh my word,
He's just
Vit,
on the
you
flag.
absolute monster. He will go down for 𝘀cie on the other side.
Oh
𝘀cie
my
will actually
God.
pick up 2. The Jhin 4-shot. Sylas steals away the ultimate. He wants to show the Red Army choir, but in the end, it'll just be the minions that get him. And Blazers doesn't even get an assist.
It's the Winions. The Winions do it all. The Winions do all the work. It's H3 that gets the credit from beyond the grave, but honestly, pretty solid from 𝘀ecie, able to turn that chase around and kill off the bot lane and removes a big chunk of the pressure that can come out in a 1-3-1. And we just see it's a decent attempt from Penguin and CBL coming in from the flank other side, but there's just not much they can do. There's great positioning in the pit, but 𝘀 just crosses so much distance and deletes Artifact instantly. I mean, great Gale Force from 𝘀ecie to dodge the and
he
you could
plays
use
this really well.
just that, but Baron minion damage is just too much. can't get away
I mean,
from
there's
that.
nothing he can. He was 100% dead there. 𝘀ecie had already done his job by killing 2, taking away 2 Baron buffs, blunting the initial push. So he actually did really well. And okay, dying to minions looks silly, but it's fine. There's not a lot he could actually do. There's Penguin making his way very quickly to the top side just because he wanted to recall in that bush, apparently. Nope, never mind. He will actually join his Gwen in pushing into this tower. But Coded, he is just absolutely goated this game.
Oh, okay.
Penguin, back to 𝘃𝗀𝗃𝗀, mate.
Yeah, that's just it's absolutely filthy from the Ignite. Wukong just instantly deleting Penguin, had pretty much no chance to respond. And on the bot, and with Penguin on the top side, 𝘀ecie just picks up a free dragon on the bot side. So brings 𝘀ecie to soul point finally. Blazes has to be a bit careful, but good use of the Everfrost. But never mind.
Ooh, they're coming in from the side. Blazes, he is very tanky with the stolen Alistar ult. It's tank v tank, brick v brick. And everyone gathers together to make sure their lovely fish doesn't get sniped down. The Nami will survive just fine and the push will continue.
Yeah, Blazes just... It looked like you just can't catch this man. He just takes the Alistar ult and doesn't take any damage from there on out. Coded, meanwhile, just free reign on the top side. But Hero is going to be able to do a good amount of damage to these Barons, thanks to the true damage, and especially with Coded just giving up the push. He knows the collapse is coming. It's just going to be matched on the top side by Gwen, but they're still... Now we're just really looking at the waiting game. The Baron buff should have expired or be very close to. So 𝘀ecie mostly just... Oh my god, Penguin! Penguin!
Sorry, I just scared my bird.
That's...
Oh my. That was a play.
Something... Alright. Not entirely sure. I mean, they read he was there. Very good, but he wasn't. He was on a control ward. He was standing on his own pink. Which is why he thought he was safe. But 𝘀ecie knew he was there. 𝘀ecie blew him up. Yeah. I don't know.
They certainly blew him up, as that was an absolutely dirty kill there. This Lucian continuing to impress. 𝘀, someone that definitely needed to prove himself coming into this split. We were a little bit sus of the pickup. His OPG days left us with a lot to be desired. But how do they spot this?
What happens here? I can only...
Oh, they have the last bit of the vision. Okay, that's how that works, because League is very good. Blazers has to go gold. They have to try and avoid this last chin shot, but there's no way for the Silas to get out. Taken down by the Syndra. SBTC continuing to scrap back.
Yeah, great timing on that from Artifact. The orb from the Scour of the Week just following through the dash from Blazers, just popping them off on the end. Penguin's dead again. Walked into a 𝘀. Did not find that good for his health.
No.
Yeah, this is looking real rough right now, because 𝘀 is a one-man
Gwen is
army.
currently immune, though, as using that to dodge out all the damage from 𝘀 on the culling. CBL throws himself in, but can't get the knock up. That cow gets farmed, as Coded uses the Cyclone.
Fantastic flash from 𝘀. The collapse onto him by CBL is just about the only option SBTC has left, but able to flash the combo is insanely hard to do on 0 ping. So, just gonna be Hero
Hero's in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't want to go under tower though. He's very scared. No, he shouldn't be, but the tower certainly will be. As the rest of the base continues to melt away, 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀. I think. Oh my god, Blazers just going hard. That Nami wave, perfectly timed after the Zhonya's, but 𝘀𝗀𝗎 is low, 𝘀𝗀𝗎 is dead, so they are trading back well. The bubble will get nothing, and CBL is back out on the map. I think 𝘀𝗀𝗋 may have overstayed here a little bit. They need to find a way
have
out.
mana on
and
H3.
I think SBTC is going to let them go.
Yeah, there shouldn't be much of a response from SBTC. They could try and hard commit to the Baron, and yeah, that's what they're going to do. They should be able to get there. They should be able to do a decent chunk of damage to it before 𝘀𝗀𝗋 can get in range, because they don't have a teleport available to them. But Lucian's hanging around the bot side. Lucian's just going to go for the base.
Yeah, I mean, I'd really like to not see a replay right now, if I'm totally honest. Yeah, like, okay, he one-shot him. That's cool. We need to see 𝘀 taking this. He is going to get forced back, so let's have a look at what's in the Baron pit. I'd love to see the Baron pit right now, as we do. 𝘀𝗰𝗋 does back over the wall, has Scry's plant to get absolute vision, and a teleport coming in. This is good for SBTC. They have a real chance here, but CBL getting blown up. Penguin going so low. It's coded. He's coded in the back line. Artifact doing so much work. They have to kill this Wukong as soon as he gets up, but he does get the W away. He goes back in, but he will finally fall. SBTC fighting back well, but 𝘀 is here. The cowboy has arrived, and he's going to pick up these scoundrels. Never mind, hero spotted, but he can't get close to him.
Tower in the base. They just have to stop back.
They just have to stop back. You are completely correct, 𝘁𝗶𝗶. Hero moving forward. They are going to get out of there, though. This game will continue at least for a little bit longer as 𝘀𝗀𝗋 jumps forward. He destroys 𝘀elebrity, taking him off that top 100 list. 𝘀 will get another kill. This Lucian continuing to pop off. I think they could just sprint at the base, but they might just go for Soul.
Yeah, they absolutely could just run it down. They have so much damage, but there is a decent amount of CC to keep them there, but they're actually going to go for the Baron. I would just take the Soul, because I'm a coward, but this is the ballsy play. Go for it all. You take the Baron, they can't really stop you at Soul. I mean, they do have Penguin available, so you are playing up against Smite. But 𝘀𝗰𝗋 has spawned now.
I kind of like this because it forces that now. Do they fight you at the Soul? Because you probably win the fight and win the game. And if they don't fight you at the Soul, you just have Soul. So I think this is the safest decision. This is the you win 100% of the time, where the other players where you win 99% of the time.
I mean, yeah, I suppose. I mean, if you rush the Soul down, you get that you don't take any time to go on that, and I mean, they can't fight you with Elder Soul. Not Elder Soul, Infernal Soul at that point. So, I think it's really just a guaranteed win either way, unless they absolutely cook the next two team fights. But
doesn't matter. They have gone. They went. Doesn't really matter which passage of play they went for in the end. They do end up with both of the big buffs.
Both is good.
Both is good. We play both sides, so we always come out on top. As they walk in towards an undefended Nexus. I mean, SBTC, you need to find a miracle. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 has access to that Alistair ultimate. Nexus down to half health. 𝘀𝗋𝗋 is going to be ripped out. Does a lot of damage to CBL. 𝘀𝗰𝗋 actually takes a lot on the other side, but Penguin doesn't do any damage. He does absolutely nothing on this Talon. 𝘀elebrity manages to dash back, but it's only going to buy him a little bit of time as the Nexus will fall and 𝘀𝗀𝗋 will get themselves to a 1-0 lead.
Final flats from SBTC were about as good as you could hope, but the damage had already been done previously. The minions just tore apart the base, 𝘀 as well, sticking behind to knock down that first Nexus turret. It just meant that from there on, SBTC had no real options. They tried that Baron, but not being able to secure that meant that their game was basically over, unless again, 𝘀𝗀𝗋 decided to just throw it all away and just AFK for 10 minutes. I don't know.
Well, we will find out if SBTC can fight back, or it will be a 𝘀𝗀𝗋 day. Don't go anywhere, guys. This is VCS English bringing you all the action, and we'll be back in just about 5 minutes.
And welcome back to the analyst desk after 𝘀𝗀𝗋 take game 1 over the super big time chickens. And Clockwork, let's get right into it. And very, very, very potent early game coming out. Like great jungle strategy from 𝘀𝗀𝗋 and the rest of the squad.
So this game was a perfect example of how I'm here to entertain and not to be correct. because there was the B1 Jin that didn't happen, and then we talked about this focus on the top lane for 𝘀WWE, and that didn't happen as well, and they weren't even skirmishy. They mostly managed to play around what Penguin tried to do in the early game, which was trying to put as much focus to the top lane as possible, to Gwen, to Hero, and 𝘁𝗀 was just content with focusing on the other side of the map, prioritizing CS. He was 40 CS up at like 15 minutes, so huge goal advantage, and taking dragons because their objective was scaling, and favored an advantage on the bot lane, which ended up being the carry for the game. So it went basically the opposite of what I imagined it could be, but still it favored 𝘀𝗀 pretty well.
I actually think this is really cool from 𝘀𝗀 because, I mean, we didn't expect them stepping into the number 2 role so quickly, but one of the biggest things that now we've seen is that they started off the split with pure, unadulterated aggression out of the jungle position, out of most of the positions, that skirmishing style you talked about, a lot clockwork. But as of yesterday, when they played 𝘁𝗶, and then also showing it again now, they have a style of play which requires you to beat them in the earlier phases of the game. VCS teams have a pretty bad tendency of not being capable of just doing everything right in the earlier stages of the game. So now you have two sides of this 𝘀𝗀 Scott. You have the kind of crazy Talon aggression, and then you've got the other side, which is like the Graves farm up, play for the mid game, play for team fighting. And both worked pretty well. I still think this style is a little bit more unrefined, but 𝘀𝗀 is looking dangerous if they've got two different ways to try to beat a lot of the teams inside of the VCS.
All right, and let's look into the other side of the coin, of course. 𝘂PTC, as you said, were not able to really punish 𝘀𝗀 in the early game. My mind jumps back to that attempted dive on the top lane where 𝘀𝗀 just pressed Warrior Trickster and nothing really was able to come from it. And as 𝘁𝗶 did say quite eloquently, we don't want to just look at the blue one Talon and say that was the problem. I certainly think that the Talon wasn't the issue. Clockwork, what would you say? Where did their problems stem in the early game?
So as you mentioned, of course, and 𝘁𝗶 too, I agree, and I don't think that Talon was the issue. Well, of course, at some point it just couldn't do anything in the late game. Penguin tried really hard to punish the top lane for 𝘁𝗀, which I don't think that either was the problem. Meaning that, of course, you need to try to avoid 𝘁𝗀 from taking over the game. So that wasn't totally wrong either in principle. Of course, the execution was a bit lacking because to do so, Penguin gave up a lot of jungle pressure in the early game. Artifact also didn't manage to punish 𝘁𝗎𝑠 hard enough and to make this top lane lead meaningful enough to then activate the Gwen and make her a real threat. So if 𝘂PTC want to double down on this strategy, they need to a bit harder on it and try to also not to sacrifice too much in order to enable the hero.
Fair enough. And looking, of course, towards the opposite side of the map, we saw the Lucian army coming out from 𝘀𝗀, and it did fantastic work in the game. Of course, 𝑉𝑖T doing massive work, including that double kill that might have, well, should have been a triple maybe onto 𝘁𝗀. And that bot lane as a whole went pretty much exactly as we expected. Rebel, do you have a further insight into that?
Yeah, it's been that for the majority of the split now, 𝘀𝗀 hasn't done too much with their bottom side unless they're putting specific focus into it. Where it's okay if they're attacking the side of it in H3, then all of a sudden things start to kind of shoot into place. But otherwise, they've been relatively like weak side. They've been relatively back foot. They usually don't get very involved in the earlier stages. And oftentimes, if there is a weak point on the map, we happen to draw our eyes towards that bottom lane, or that are things are going kind of really amok on the top side. Where a lot of the pressure is actually being put on. But when they have something like this that bridges their kind of the entirety of this bottom side, where you have Lucian 𝘁𝗶, the strongest combination bot lane that you can have almost certainly right now in the game, and you hand them to these two, again, they don't need anything else. All they have to do is simply play out the laning phase the way it's meant to be played out, and they are taking an instant win in the laning phase. They had CS advantages. They are far more active inside of not only across the map but inside of team fights, and you saw that 𝘉𝗀 was really, really good at using the mobility of that Lucian to attack inside of fights whenever there's somebody exposed since there's no one really to soak the Lucian damage. And it also didn't help that Celebrity was stuck on Jin Jail. I know we talked about, okay, Celebrity's had really good performances, makes this look like a carry, but this is not supposed to be somebody that's going to be able to help carry your entire team. This is not a 1v5 type champion the way that other ADCs might actually fill the void. And that is what they needed. They lacked a lot of direction. And if they're going to try to rely on Celebrity to do all of the heavy lifting, that had to be it.
And if I could ask for a 10-word diagnostic of what SBTC needs to do in Game 2. 1, can either of you do it? And 2, what would that be?
Ooh, okay, I'm not sure about the 10 words, but it should be
Sure, diagnostic, then.
safe mid matchup. Oh god, this is hard. Safe mid matchup is for sure a beginning. Okay, try to
We'll
fill
roll
the
with
other
that,
7
that's
rebel.
good. We're getting into Champions League for Game 2, so we'll let you keep thinking on that one. And here we go. A lot of bands already coming through.
I actually think that I can take on your task relatively quickly.
Ooh.
I don't even know that I need a full 10 words to do it. I think for the side of SBTC, it's get Celebrity ready to rock. That's it. That's all you need. If you get into the situation where, you know, Celebrity's actually able to take what is an effective later game type style of play, and they rely on what is effectively team fighting, and it's more about mitigating what happens in the earlier stages and letting Celebrity sit, even Artifact to some point sit, they're fine. Let Celebrity sit there. Get Celebrity to late game. That's literally the whole diagnosis for SBTC. They don't need the crazy talent. They don't need the crazy early game. All they need to do is rely on some of their carries now. They can work on all the other strategies later. Because right now, if they're trying to take wins, especially against 𝘀cie at the top of the table, I mean, they desperately need to rely on what is consistent for them.
The exclusion zone has been removed. Blue 1 Jin has been picked up for Vit in this game too. And it looks like they are trying to give that solid mid matchup for Artifact. They're going to give him that the Syndra again.
Yeah, that is also a blind Syndra, so 𝘀cie has all the time and chances to respond. The Rise is still open, so I expect it could be something that 𝘀cie is going to evaluate. We're going to have a Lee Sin, which is another one of Killer Queen's peak champions. And the LeBlanc, look, LeBlanc has not been a priority of VCS mid laners, but it's still quite picked because it can do pretty well in these like early to mid game skirmishes. Provides a lot of damage, a lot of burst. Of course, it's not going to have an easy lane matchup per se because it has a hard time wave clearing, so it will need some assistance from Killer Queen, and this makes me think with the Jhin in the bot lane that Killer Queen is going to put a lot of focus in towards the mid and probably top side, depending on what they pick for voted, instead of heading towards the bot lane in this game.
From what we've seen from this team, this is not the style of play that we've watched the last 2 days between the likes of first game and this one and game 3 against Saigon. This is back to the roots of, okay, what were they doing at the beginning of the split? They give Killer Queen something very active to begin the game, like this Lee Sin, and then they attack the map, especially with the roam potential out of Blazes. When they can combine their mid-jungle strength and attack everywhere, that's kind of what their bread and butter was when the sprint had started. It started mostly with Talon, but Lee Sin kind of came into the fold as the week continued into the earlier parts of this week, and I like this because you're punishing Artifact on this Syndra. He's blinding a Syndra that is illegal beyond belief, especially in my book because I hate that champion. But you're enabling Blazes as well, which I think is a really huge part of this for the 𝘀cie squad, which is that now they've got 2 very big dive threats to attack their side lanes with, and an easy enough bottom laner to work with, taking the Jhin away from Celebrity, putting it into the hands of Vit to make sure that bottom lane doesn't go awry.
We see the rest of the bands coming out, 2 ADCs taken away by 𝘀cie, try and pinch Celebrity's pool as much as possible, 2 supports taken away from 𝘀cie, obviously the Leona taken first rotation, so we have to see what H3 falls back onto.
To me, it seems that SBTC were trying to go for some late game teamfight composition with the Leona, Jarvan that provide a lot of AoE crowd control, and of course 𝘀cie saw through that immediately and took away some of the scaling AD carries that can be threatening. Celebrity, of course, also has the Caitlyn to bring up to the table, and which is also going to have quite a good matchup into the Jhin. I really am not sure about the 𝘁𝗀𝗀 here. 𝘁32H3 is one of the supports in the VCS that prioritize this pick over Leona, over Alistar, and it provides mostly the same point and click stun-ish that VCS players enjoy a lot, and it has some disengage, but it's very much limited when it comes to anything else. So I don't know how this bot lane... What a Malphite mid? No, it's a top lane.
No.
Okay, it has to be a top lane. Okay, so yeah, it seems to be very much a poke-ish comp, skirmishy comp from the 𝘀WWE side, where, well, SPTC just want to brawl, just want to get to the 5v5 and smash buttons.
Absolutely, and looking across the rosters now completed, we see some very, very solid engage coming out from the SBTC acronyms lineup with the Malphite and the Jarvan, Leona. Plenty of just get at them, and then the follow-up from a Caitlyn and Syndra should be pretty solid. So how do we feel about their chances? Have they enabled Celebrity adequately for this game too?
I'm going to dub this SBTC's composition the pitter patter because it's they're trying to get at her as fast as possible. And the biggest thing to me is they're playing to Caitlyn as much as possible in the laning phase to bust down towers, to get a bunch of gold. They're able to siege really effectively with the range of engage and damage that they got. But this is the 𝘀WWE that's going to be bringing out a very powerful top side. They're very skirmish heavy, and I think they've got the tools to set their Jace into a good footing. I'm going to call SBTC only because this composition is easy to run.
Was about to echo that. I don't need 10 words for SPTC, I just need 3. Ease of execution. SPTC takes it.
It's a really, really simple metric for these, especially these sort of leagues where fiestas can happen quite a lot. We are going to throw it back over to the casters for game 2 as the teams take foot onto the Rift once again.
Well, we're happy to pick it up from you, 𝘀cie. Glad to have you on the desk. You 3 are doing a wonderful job, but don't worry, me and the lovely 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀 will take it from here as we are on to Summoner's Rift to see if the chickens can redeem themselves in map 2 or if it will be a luxurious night through and through.
Yeah, okay, they're setting up the recall, so, and besides, Jace is pathing quite safely, so they are going to find nothing in this early invade. But I have to agree, sort of, that both these comps are very similar in sort of what they want to do results-wise rather than how you actually play it out. One is punch down as many towers as you can early with Caitlyn and farm the plates. The other one is much more skirmish heavy, try and find those picks, find those 2v2 kills, focused around the LeBlanc, at least Sid. But they still want to break that early game, try and get ahead in through that way. And once again, 𝘀WWE are going to completely, quite undetected, just find their way in and take this red buff. They should twig onto it earlier with if they catch the way that Coated is heading back into lane, coming in from that angle. So they should be able to read that earlier. But Lee Sin is much better level 2 gank, and he's actually just going to grab the Raptors, so never mind.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they read it. There were pings coming out from Hero saying, hey, my Jace isn't here. But let's see if they actually read what has happened. They should. But yeah, Killer Queen potentially off to another fantastic start. Penguin is going to his Wolves. I feel like he hasn't read it again, or he's not responding properly at least.
They ping it out now,
you can't get mind games like this 2 games in a row. You can't do this. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, and
they went over there now, but it's too late.
And with the full commit, to the top side, actually, as we hold, because Penguin, he's going for the gank, but he's spotted on the ward.
Blazes actually used his flash, by the way.
Huh.
I'm not sure where that came from, but he must have dodged something. As Penguin will get picked off here, or picked up, I should say, as Killer Queen is moving in onto him. Doesn't want to use the second half of that Q yet, but Blazes will land the chain, and I think that's a dead jungler and a blue buff to a mid laner.
Blazes read that just read that perfectly. It was like, I know that they're going to go for the flag and drag out, so I'm just going to distort to where he's going to land, not try and blow up on the damage. Gets in, lands the chain. That's an easy kill for Blazes, rather. Doesn't matter, his flash is down. And yeah, it just comes, and it really is just Penguin getting completely just misreading the situation. They committed the 4 to the top side early on, but Artifact making moves, trying to make up for it.
Yeah, 𝘀ci's just going to put out some damage, try and make sure they can trade 1-for-1. A good flash away from the Scat of the Week. He's going to buy a lot of time and put Artifact really low. 𝘀ci is still not dead. He finally goes down, but Blazers trades it onto the rock, and it's a disaster here, 𝘁𝗶𝗶. Blazers distorts forward. This should be an easy kill. He just right-clicks him down, flashes the B, and that's a 3-0 LeBlanc at 3 minutes.
Cool, game's over. Game is
that's
basically
bad.
over.
That's real bad.
Yeah, so you look across the map, and it's not like the Caitlyn is completely smashing the Jhin. It's not really how that happen. It's not really going to happen at this point, especially with the sort of poke that the 𝘁𝗀𝗀 can lay down to sort of offset the lacking lane pressure, and punish the Leona more so than the Caitlyn pick itself. But yeah, both traded really well, and Artifact does great getting the early roam up, but the teleport match from Blanc is just huge. And of course, 𝘀ci plays it beautifully, dodges so much. This flash is just insane.
And the fact that he gets that last QE in, yeah. I mean, 𝘀ci never, ever, ever survives there, so the fact that he's able to get Artifact that low by that much time, honestly, really, really impressive stuff, and it's so easy for Blazers. Doesn't even really have to show off at all, as he just walks up and collects a double kill, and he has a lost chapter at 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm somewhat a little bit shocked he didn't just rush the Dark Seal, but here it's just going to be painful hero again.
Uh-oh, it's the Rock in trouble once again, but he actually survives. Not the best damage. Oh, 𝘀ci, not what you want. One more order.
So, yeah.
Don't like that. Don't like that one, 𝘁𝗶𝗶. Don't like it.
That was
I don't like
bad. No, the correct play there is to, if you're going to go for that 1-for-1 trade your jungler, so your top laner gets to really punish and take those plates. You're already really far ahead in that one lane. Or just hit
your Shock Blast. That's another option.
I mean, all that, but with that off the table, it's just.
Let's just move on swiftly, as Blazers does avoid a gank by Penguin. This LeBlanc will continue her supremacy as CBL manages to find a way in. They deal a fair bit of damage onto Vit, but nothing lethal.
And I don't see the point of going for LeBlanc, really, unless you can pretty much guarantee the setup by, like, bringing the Leona with you, or the 𝘁𝗀𝗀, because, yeah, it's going to be really hard to gank the LeBlanc. She does so much damage. She's really slippery. Go to your bot lane. You need to be trying to push this Caitlyn ahead, as CBL is caught out. Probably going to die.
He's in a lot of trouble with Killer Queen coming in. The kick into the queue is going to be plenty. Celebrity will get away, but 𝘀𝗀𝗀 get everything they really want, and they're up to a 2k gold lead. And look, I'm just saying, if we ever have those KFC shortages again, I think I know where to give them some dead chicken.
Oh boy. Yeah, look, I wanted to come into this sort of saying that SBTC are generally the weaker early game team, so them matching into a early game competition seems pretty bad off the bat. But luckily for them, they are statistically our second best late game team. So as it comes to late game, it's good for them. Unfortunately, statistically, the first best late game team is 𝘀𝗀𝗋. So
yeah,
it's
also not going to get to late game. Look, I'm not going to write a game off. I'm not going to write a game off this early. It is only 7 minutes in. There is so much room for error by 𝘀𝗀𝗋, but this is a very, very dominant start here. 𝘀ci's playing very far back, scared of the potential 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗋 all in with a jungler nearby. Little does he know that the jungler is absolutely nowhere close, so he's just fine.
Yeah, but
he's paying a lot of respect to Mouth.
Yeah, I mean, 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗋, especially 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗋 with Comment, can absolutely just blow you up in the 1v1. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is not a very tanky boy. He can 100% get all in this early on in the game, but it's just so it's just playing back. Does not have the vision. Was waiting for Killer Queen to come up to his side of the map. Now he feels a lot more confident because Killer Queen can respond, as well as H3, who is in position already. very happily waiting. But here's the kill.
There's the unstoppable force. 𝘀𝗀𝗀 going to go down. But this will be a Rift Herald secured. So 𝘀𝑠ure lose a kill and get a Rift Herald in 2 disconnected plays. So I guess they come out okay.
It's not the worst. The big side plus side for 𝘀BTC is they get the free plate on the bot side. 𝘀𝑠ure aren't able to convert that straight away into a top lane push, which is sort of what you're after. And now you can sort of rotate yourselves down, head towards this bot side, maybe try and set up this dragon. 𝘀𝑠e is getting poked out well by Artifact. He's playing this matchup extremely well in the 1v1. He did get that flash earlier, but the rest of the map has sort of collapsed around him, so...
Oh, 𝘀𝗀𝗀. Artifact tried to outplay that kick so hard, but he did eventually find the way in. Blazers needs to get a W, can't before the Cataclysm is used. CBL in a bit of trouble, but they don't have the damage to follow it up. 1 for 1.
Yeah, committing the ult to get that kill. It's all fine and well. It looked good from Artifact dodging that, getting away from that W, but 𝘀𝗀𝗀 still had the flash to follow, as mentioned. So really good pickup. The trading in the top side. Look, 𝘀𝗀𝗀 has the shove, has the ability to roam, but he's trading, but he's getting traded back on pretty well from Hero. That endless Q poke is just absurd, and it only gets worse in the preseason with 𝘀𝗶𝗀𝗀 being made. But
well,
yeah,
let's have a look at this replay. Here, looking, Artifact tries so hard.
Yeah,
get away from that kick, but no hope.
It was a very slick flash to get away, but unfortunately, 𝘀𝗀𝗀 also has one of those, so can just still set up the insect, still set up the kill. And that is it's again, just a very fed Blazers. Shutdown does go over to Penguin, bringing him as an individual back in sort of roughly in line with where 𝘀𝗀𝗀 is, but it's still looking not great for the side of the chickens as they are down. Actually, they're only down about 500 gold, but it feels worse.
The thing is that they still don't have anything on the level of this LeBlanc. Artifact is doing a decent job staying even in farm. Of course, that big roam up towards the top side will allow him to get a bit of a lead there, but it's still a completed Ludens at 10.5 minutes. So Blazers needs to either get some solo kills or get out of lane to make use of it, because he's in a lot of trouble now as Penguin's found him, but he's bound up. A lot of damage onto him, flashes over the wall as the TP completes.
And there's the collapse from 𝘀𝑠ure. First to the play, bot lane moving, willing to had their push. It's actually 𝘀𝗀𝗀 sacrificing his push in the top side to get that teleport down. But now here comes the response from 𝘀BTC.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp, though, does a lot of good work. 𝘁 with a cleanse gets him on out of there, and it will just be a tree sacrificed for the greater good.
They choose to turn onto H3 instead of committing onto 𝘁 a little bit harder. I think they could have walked away with more if they chose to go harder onto him after a beautiful solar flare. But in the end, it's a kill for a teleport. The dragon is traded as well, but oh my god, here's Penguin dead.
Oh, Penguin in trouble, and that will be 𝘁 getting donated a kill there. From 𝘀𝗀𝗀. They're now bearing down onto the bottom lane. CBL in trouble. The W from Jhin will find absolutely nothing, but Blazers deals way too much damage. And it's a kill picked up, but we go immediately to the top side where the Malphite ult was used. And 𝘀𝗀𝗀 has to run, but it's a rock that comes first.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. But no, in the bot side, I just want to point out how beautifully practiced that looked between 𝘀𝗀𝗀 and 𝘁. Just the kick into exactly the perfect shot onto the Jarvan. It was just really sick. And here we go.
Yep, just flash ult. That's just Malphite stuff.
Malphite 100% kills you really, really easily this early in the game. And honestly, it doesn't get that much better for Jace. He's able to buy a few to help it out, like the 𝘁𝗀𝗋, the
hello, 𝘁 in a lot of trouble. He has flash, and he uses it to drag the ace in the hole over to H3. It's not going to save his life, though. And now H3's in trouble, and 𝘀BTC, they're fighting back.
They're fighting back hard, and honestly, I still don't know. Oh, probably jumped into the bot side, judging by those tower plates. But yeah, that's where the Rift Herald went. But that's an assist onto Celebrity. It's another kill onto Artifact. Blazers does a lot of damage just with chains.
It really does.
So,
but they need to play around Blazers because he has such a big lead, but the rest of the team doesn't. They need to be around this LeBlanc.
You're especially looking at the top side. That's where the gold is really for SBTC, which is kind of feels bad because it's a mouth fight. He's only really has the one button, but
That's true.
it's gonna do a lot on that button. Hopefully,
It's a big button. It is a hefty button, Marby. You have to understand. But Blazers continuing to assert himself in the mid lane. Coded now going in on Hero, and it doesn't take damage. Coded, he doesn't take damage. He's a rock. He just hit the rock.
it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a little while for Coded to actually do anything back to Hero. Now he's gonna have to wait for probably the 𝘀𝗀𝗧 Grudge to really maximize the armor penetration alongside that 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀. Yeah, that is. But until then, he's gonna struggle. He's gonna need to look for something along the lines of Merc Treads or something to reduce the damage coming out from the side of the rock. Because the rock doing good. Well, we're getting a little bit of 𝘀𝗀 in the top lane, putting in work. And this bot side has also had a little bit of work put into it because I think that's about to go down for first brick.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want out of a Caitlyn, just constantly being able to walk up, smack the tower, get that first brick in as Penguin stops Vit from even catching these Krugs for some extra farm. And after an early game disaster, SBTC have bounced back completely, and they're actually in a gold lead all of a sudden.
Yep. That's going to get turned around pretty quickly, though. It's killing... Oh, never mind, bot side.
Never mind, Vit's dead. 𝘁3 has to flash out of the 𝗀𝗿 ult, and Penguin is fighting back in this game.
And if they can keep the pressure down, but 𝘁𝗰𝗏 is in the top side with the Rift Herald. There's not much that Hero can do. That tower's going to go down. They're going to be able to drop the Herald as well and get that charge off if they choose to. They decided against it seems. And 𝗁𝗶𝗏𝗀? Blazers? That's a Fed LeBlanc.
LeBlanc. That's a Fed LeBlanc, as he will continue to bear in on 𝘁𝗶𝗏𝗀, misses the chains, but it doesn't matter as this is now a 7-1 Blazers with a Dark Seal on the top side.
no.
Coded's in trouble once again, but he's buying a lot of time. 𝘁𝗀𝗏 will be able to trade back onto one, and the Rock can't stop the Lee Sin.
Missing the Scout of the Week ends up winning that trade on both sides of the map for 𝘀𝗀𝗏. They get the tower on the top, they get 2 towers on the top side thanks to the Herald. They trade 1 for 1 in the kills overall, and with LeBlanc being just absolutely cracked, she's able to just instantly delete Celebrity and CBL on the bot side and just walk it through, and now you have full control on the bot side, you have full control on the top side, it's only a 2k gold lead, but you have all the map control in the world right now. You're going to be rewarded with a Ocean Drake for it.
Yeah, and this is why you don't give LeBlanc kills early. She's a mid laner that snowballs very quickly, Marby, as I'm sure I don't need to tell you. As
this is why LeBlanc is one of
Let's
my
have a
least
look
favorite
what
champions.
happened up here. Oh, he missed the ult on 𝘁𝗀𝗏𝗀. He only hit Coded.
Yeah, but it's still salvageable, but the Scout of the Week, Coded's just behind Artifact, so it doesn't get popped instantly. Gets that little bit of a shield, so Hero has to recommit. They can't sort of take the 2v2 afterwards and trade down onto 𝘁𝗀𝗏𝗀, so he gets to walk away free. And so while Coded has been beat up on this game, half of SBTC's kills
doesn't find anything.
but while Coded's been beat up on, the rest of the map is just popping off, especially this mid lane. Though unfortunately, actually that's not even the case. He's not even multiple items ahead. It's not like the entire gold lead is focused on Blazers. There's a whole extra item up on 𝘁𝗀𝗏𝗀. There's parity in the bot lane. It's just the parity in the bot lane and the top lane. So it's just like completely even. As
now fight, TP gets interrupted. I assume that was going towards Coded. I wasn't quite looking at the mini map, but it does use the Lee Sin kick.
Yeah. Didn't see that either, but it does. But assuming that, looking at that on the top side, that's now been by Coded or not. Never mind. Just ignoring it. But never mind.
Goes Malphite. Maybe you should have let him TP. Vit kind of wishes you did, as he just gets absolutely destroyed by that ace in the hole.
Yeah, and they should be able to convert that pretty effectively into a tower. 𝘁𝗀𝗏𝗀, he's lurking on the side, but there's a lot to protect Celebrity right now, and
𝘁𝗀𝗏𝗀.
now the danger's here.
Yeah, but Blazers does get tagged up, so he's got to play it safe for a little bit. Does so much damage onto Penguin, though, it just doesn't matter. 𝘀𝗰𝗋 converts the kill, and in they go. The 𝘀𝗀ci uses that twisted advance. It's another kill picked up for 𝘀𝗀𝗋. This 𝘁𝘁 getting big.
Celebrity playing that as well as he could, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. Penguin pops instantly. Hero does his best, but he's not able to get the backup he needs to do anything in this front line. He's used his ultimate, and now Artifact, he's just getting completely chunked out. He's picked off by 𝘀𝗀𝗋. It's beautiful. That's now the tower down as well for sure. They're the only saving grace is that's about all they can get. They can't convert to a neutral, but they can take away your jungle.
They certainly can, as this is 𝘀𝗀ci bouncing back from a bit of a early to mid-game stall where SBTC fought their way back into the game, but they've now successfully utilized Blazers' lead, grown it, and more importantly, spread it. As now 𝘀𝗀𝗋 is also so far ahead of his opposite number. Coded, yeah, he's 1-5. It's an ugly scoreline, but he's still a 2-item Jace.
Yeah, he's still a 2-item Jace, and you can see the damage that Shock Blast was chunking out Artifact, making his life very difficult. And you look across to Celebrity, who's going for the Gale Force, which is fair, which is a fair choice. But if I'm looking at the top sort of solo queue Caitlyn, they're running the Kraken Slayer, they're running the 𝘀𝗀𝗋 over it, the blood, not the first, the other one, Shieldburn. They're running it over it. But and now we're just sort of unfortunately at the stage where Caitlyn has reached her mid game, which is her weakest point because she doesn't have anything to buffer her attack damage really, and her only real saving factor is her range. She doesn't have, so she can't like buffer attack speed to make her a really strong burst DPS threat.
She has such low base attack speed that her mid game is pretty terrible. She does spike back up, of course, as the game goes on. I'm sure at this point most people know about how Caitlyn scaling works. It goes down and then it comes right back up. As in the late game, those headshots are basically a one-shot. So we're going to have to see if Celebrity can actually get there.
Yeah, and of course, with her being like one of the highest base range AD carries in the game, she just
range
is able to crack out the damage from so far away. As the Blazers clone. Don't get excited.
They are firing the Jhin shots in. It does a whole lot of nothing, though, especially if that 4th shot misses. But there's an H as well. But it's a massive 𝘀𝗀𝗋i ult on the other side, and Blazers has been killed. Disaster strikes in the 𝘀𝗀𝗋i camp. It's a double kill for Artifact. They're picking them up. Penguin jumps in. He will go down for it, but it doesn't matter because all he had to do was put him in the rage cage and wait for Celebrity, who will be cleaned up by 𝘀𝗀𝗋 on the other side, but they should be able to set the CC, but they don't want to play with the 𝘁𝗀𝗋.
𝘁𝗀𝗋's fed. 𝘁𝗀𝗋's got his Gore Drinker. He's got his stacks. He's able to keep fighting as long as he wants, and that's why he gets to walk away in the end. But it was great from Hero waiting for Blazers to mess around a little too much with those distortions and leave himself vulnerable. Gets the ult. They blow him up instantly, and that is a huge amount of gold lost for 𝘀𝗀𝗋i. Now Hero and CBL are going to be able to come down and scare 𝘀𝗀𝗋 away. Shouldn't matter because there's no jungle.
He's not scared because he has Blazers coming in on a teleport. They have Coded as well. SBTC, they thought they were back into it, but it was all a part of the plan from 𝘀𝗀𝗋i as they pick up 3 kills and the dragon.
Okay, they forgot to do their duty. They didn't do their homework. They didn't read the chat timings, as we just see here. Yeah, it's just we've gone back a while. We do not need to see this ultimate.
The whole fight.
We really don't, because the only real important thing is that Blazers uses the distortion for a little bit of poke and then walks back into the range, and with him gone, with the ultimates coming through, Celebrity doesn't actually have to be involved in the fight to do a decent amount of damage with just the ult and the Q. Finishes off Celebrity later.
Penguin's dead.
This is starting to be a reoccurring nightmare. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Replays
and they get it. Oh yeah, they got him.
Yeah,
Good
they
job.
can.
Woo.
Blazers.
That's actually really good.
Close your shop. Close your shop there. That's very silly, as now this LeBlanc doesn't have the Baron buff. Can't go be as much of a solo lane threat. not what you want at all. Honestly, just a pretty huge mistake. 𝘀𝗀 goes forward. They just want to 4v2 apparently. CBL tagged up. The Jin ult doesn't land. Hero is not taking damage though. This Malphite is absolutely huge. Scatter the weak onto the tree. 𝘁_3 is in trouble. 𝘁_3 is going to go down. He chunks Celebrity, but it's not enough.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the pick potential on SBTC and Celebrity, of course. Hello, Coded.
Okay. Coded arrives and he will pick up the Sheriff. CBL goes down to 𝘀𝗀 on the other side, and finally they get a pick out and deal with the rock.
Coded not happy with the community opinion on Arcane, saying Jace is a good character, actually. As Artifact, oh my god, that snipe from 𝘁. That's a lockdown.
That was ridiculous. Even gives him the spam dancers. 𝘀𝗀, a shit poster after my own heart. Love you, mate. As they get that kill, they have some fun, and they're going to walk it into the base and crack her open.
Yeah, that's like minimum 2 inhibitors, but looking at that time, looking at those death timers on Artifact and the Hero, they may just greed for a little bit more. Celebrity is back up, so I really wouldn't be betting on it, but they should be able to crack that top lane inhibitor as well. Choose not to. They are much more interested in the gold of the outer inhibitor, of the outer turret, probably, possibly. Or not, they want the reset instead. But look at this. Blazes, he goes really deep for it, and he's just trying to get traded back on. It works out.
Yeah.
It works out. They managed to trade pretty effectively. Oh, actually, no, they don't. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
You are looking at the wrong.
I'm at the wrong area. Yeah, this is the Baron bit. They traded it out, but yeah.
This was silly by
Good
Blazes.
move from Hero.
That's just, he had shop open.
Good move from Hero.
But Blazes, looking for revenge, but still, it's a Malphite.
Yeah, just completely, yeah, they don't do damage to each other. Malphite versus, it's a tank versus an assassin. They really should not be, they should just sit there forever at a standstill. It's the least fun matchup in the world.
Yeah, for sure. Though it is fun kind of shrugging off damage. Tank players, I'm sure you understand. But 𝘀𝗀 is now 9-0.
Doesn't let you do that anymore.
Hero moving forward. He wants to try and pick up Coded. The ace in the hole comes in, but it's not enough. They disengage well as Vit opens it up on the backside. Blazes has gone in and found one. Can he find two? We can't even see it. We're zoomed all the way out. We are viewing the game from Mars, and we can still barely catch all of the action as the kills rain on in. It's 3 picked up for 𝘀𝗀. 𝘀𝗀 dashes his way out. Blazes dashes his way forward. He lands the CC. Can they find their way onto this Leona? The flash forward from Vit. It'll be 𝘀𝗀 that finishes it, but he pays with his life. Oh no, the unkilled record will end, but it does not matter because a 2-0 victory is all that 𝘀𝗀 cares about as they take the last Nexus tower. They destroy the Malphite and they crack down on this Nexus.
And honestly, the enemy sniper Vit coming up huge in not pretty much the whole game, but that W weaving its way into the Caitlyn, that is insane because the Celebrity almost certainly should have been able to reset on Fountain, be able to try and crack it and hold the game a little bit longer, but that just instantly removed him. Oh my god, just not 𝘀𝗀 as a whole. They're able to find these angles that were just completely ruining the really strong front to back teamfight situation composition that was set up by the side of SBTC, but it doesn't matter when their backline's already in your backline.
Yep, it certainly doesn't. And to get some very smart thoughts that I'm sure they've cooked up, we will head straight back over to the VCS English analyst desk. 𝘀𝗀 and the boys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Carrix. We are back on the analyst desk, and 𝘀𝗀 closing out that series with some class.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
have 10 words.
You have 10 words. Oh, go for it.
SBTC, that's one word, has better team fights. 𝘀𝗀 has better flanks and decisions. Does it make sense? Did it nail it?
Got there. Nice one. Proud of you. Rebel, you were saying.
It's another proof of 𝘀“cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 kind of ability to adapt very quickly on the fly. I really liked them showing the dichotomy of their strategies. Game one was that more play for mid game, play for team fighting and grouping style, and this was a lot harder of a comp to run. We talked about that at the SBTC. They have a very easy team fighting composition. You would run the risk of like Malphite can just kind of sandbag into the top lane and make it very difficult for the Jays. You run the risk of bottom lane, just kind of being passive and allowing for Celebrity to scale up into the later stages relatively freely. And so it was all contingent on, okay, how well do your assassins play in the beginning of the game? How well do Lee Sin and LeBlanc, actually do? They went crazy. They went insane in the first parts of this game. And what's even cooler is they transitioned into bottom side to push Celebrity as much as possible, to take away the Caitlyn as kind of a weapon to use for the side of SBTC. Our expectation was, SBTC want to put resources into Celebrity on the bottom side, but they couldn't because these very early game wins from the side of the mid jungle here for what is 𝘀𝑚 just kind of took over and didn't allow them to do anything.
Absolutely did. And while there were some hiccups in the mid game, a couple of fumbles back and forth, of course, Blazes overstepping, as the caster so eloquently put, into the three-man unstoppable force hero, putting in a really great showing for himself. Of course, SBTC weren't able to pull it out on this occasion, but it was really good to see them scrapping all the way through.
Indeed, to me it looked like a bit of, I don't know how many Dota fans are in the chat, but like it looked to me that it looked like a Dota game, meaning that both teams had their very clear win conditions, and there was never a moment when one of the two teams had no way out of the game. Even if Blazers was so far ahead and his LeBlancs was really scary, SBTC have shown in some team fights that they could claw it back in the game, and they were almost managing to do that, but eventually all these very well navigated skirmishes that 𝘀𝑚 managed to set up are very impressive, especially because this is mostly a rookie team. You wouldn't expect such an expert navigation of this composition by such a young team. So this is very impressive looking forward, and I want to see if they can keep it up against higher opponents like Cerberus, like GAM.
And Rebel appears to have jumped into the sun.
Oh,
there we go. Just looking at a bright screen. That's
okay.
fine. Doing a quick look, as I completely forgot to do it at the beginning, if we do a quick ping over towards the standings, we can see how the teams sit. I believe this is lacking this current series, so this will be... Oh, it has been updated. Thank you, production. So this will show 𝘀𝑚, obviously, technically 5-1, but they will be behind... Well, we will see at the end of the day, after the second series, Cerberus, of course, taking on 𝘂𝗈𝐺𝑚, whether they will steal away the top spot.
When Cerberus loses later today and 𝘀𝑚 takes the #1 spot.
Oh,
interesting. Spicy takes from you, Rebel. Clockwork, do you think that's actually going to happen?
Ooh, that's a tough call. Well,
Cerberus
considering
scary.
Buffalo has played yesterday and it wasn't impressive, and Cerberus played 2 days ago and they were very impressive. So I'm like the #1 𝘀𝑐kie fan in this broadcast, but it's not going to be an easy task.
All right, and we look forward to the schedule going forward. I think it will already show this game that has been won, but yes, we've got Cerberus versus 𝘂𝗈𝑚 coming up after a break of indeterminate length. Here we go. Fantastic. Yeah. So we have seen SBTC. God, that's so annoying. 𝘀𝑚, and that's that one has already been resolved. Cerberus versus 𝘂𝗈𝗈𝑚 is coming out. Obviously, this is the top of the table clashes today, and then tomorrow we have a couple of the lower tier teams going against each other. Flash versus is it Break the Sky?
Yeah, Burst the Sky.
Burst the Sky, and GAM will take on Team Secret. How are we feeling about those? We've got plenty of time to talk about Cerberus, Saigon in the later segment. How do we feel about tomorrow's series?
Ooh, tomorrow's series. I honestly, I spent the whole week expecting Flash against BTS because it was like the match of the week, meaning that they were both bottom of the table teams. But BTS won pretty convincingly yesterday, so it's not as much as a struggle between poor men looking for their first wins. But still, I think it's going to be very exciting for all the wrong reasons. And I don't know. I expect Flash to win. I don't say to allow it, but I expect Flash will win it.
I think it's kind of crazy because there's a legitimate world that we live in, right? Where if 𝘀𝘀_𝘀𝗀𝗃 are able to take 2 wins tomorrow tomorrow against the side of Flash, which is very reasonable to say that they will beat Flash in a 2-0 or 2-1, something along those lines. And 𝘀𝗀_𝘁𝗀𝗀 actually lose the matchup 0-2 today. We'll be in a world where 𝘀𝘀_𝘀𝗀𝗃 is the number 4 team in the entirety of the VCS, which is kind of insane for those of us in the 𝘀𝗀_𝘀𝗀𝗃 fan club. But outside of that, again, I think GAM is also still on the up and up. Beating Team Secret's another way for them to be able to confirm into this top spot. We're starting to get a really good picture of what we're looking at. And at first, it was kind of like there were 3 subgroups that had been designed, but now we're settling into, okay, Cerberus, 𝘀𝘀ry are at the top. GAM, Saigon, SBTC, 𝘀𝘀_𝘀𝗀𝗃 are all kind of competing for that number 3 and 4 spot, looking to try to make it into playoffs. And then Team Secret Flash are just trying to dig themselves out of a rough situation at the bottom of the barrel, seeming kind of impossible right now for the two of them to try to really figure anything out at this point.
That's absolutely a fair point. Let's go to the one final housekeeping matter to take for this current series, at least, and that is, of course, discussion about MVP. I think it's quite easy to point fingers at individual members that did great work on both sides, but who do you guys think was the most pivotal player in the series?
No brains, 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀.
Okay, that was my line. That was my line. I need to bring up something different. So of course my coin will land on the side of Blazes. He was insanely active in the second early game. Well, the matchup also allowed him to, and he was always present. He was always one step ahead of Artifact, always bringing him the play, punishing every decision that Penguin or what is it? Also quoted, yeah, there was the top lane teleport gank, and basically that closed the game at minute 7, and it was so impressive. We always mention Vietnamese mid laners not being up to par with junglers or other regions mid laners, but these Blazes, I don't know. He's having a breakout split, and I don't know. I'm here for it.
Absolutely, and of course we can spare a thought for Hero in that game too. But I think it's safe to say, my opinion is aligned with yours, Rebel. That 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀 across both games was the player that had the greatest effect on the outcome.
It's there were players. I don't think anybody really on the side of 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 had a bad day whatsoever. Everybody could have been lauded for a number of different things throughout the entirety of the series. I thought the game 1 from Coded was really, really nice. I think the game 2 from Blazes was amazing. The game 1 was it wasn't bad by any standard, but it wasn't as good as his game number 2. Both games actually, I think their bottom lane had really good kind of setups. Again, it seems to be that they're able to somehow jump between looking like a strength and a weakness at different times. And again, the versatility of the team kind of is completely contingent on 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, which is why I think this is the MVP of the team so far throughout the split. It's just his ability to be adaptable and malleable to what the team needs and what the team wants to play at any given moment. So I like that. I think 𝘁𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀's having a good time. I think Blazes helps him out with that quite a bit. And yeah, spare thought for Hero, who had an okay performance. He kind of did exactly his job against the likes of the Jace and had some good Malphite ultimates to team fight with.
Great R pressing.
Great R pressing. Yes, absolutely. He clicked his one button effectively.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely that. All right, before we jump to our break of indeterminate length, any closing thoughts on this series? Clockwork, we'll start with you.
Sect of 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, keep your knives sharp, because we're here. We're not a fluke. We were expecting a fluke, like, yeah, we're going to get reality checked. We're not.
I'm still in complete excitement for what we're going to see when a team like this shows this kind of adaptability now in the middle of a random patch. When we hit 11-23, I'm really excited to see what 𝘀�UE has got planned for us then. I'm hoping this isn't like they're spending all their time on this patch so they can pull victories, so then they're not prepared at all. I'm hoping when we get to that point, we're going to see like a bunch of different shades of colors of 𝘀�UE so that we get all these different strategies. Perhaps the only team right now that can take it truly to Cerberus and have a legitimate chance, that is, of course, except for Saigon, who's winning our next series. But that's not the point. 𝘀�UE is looking fantastic. I love that they've been able to break out. This is the team we were expecting when they came out of that Challenger Series, out of the VCSP. And it's been incredible to see their growth. They're looking fantastic.
All right, that will do it for us for this series, at least. We're going to throw it to a break, but we will be back in an amount of time to bring you Cerberus versus Saigon Buffalo. We hope to see you there.